Hello, Effie. I'm pleased to report I've got your carburetors finished here, and these are your carburetors. There's 15287, and over here we've got 15257. Very, very amazing match set. Even though the numbers are not that close together, they are in fact very close together in terms of these carburetors. So let's go over a few things beforehand. We've got all new factory gaskets everywhere. You can tell by the red gaskets here. Everything's been machined, all new throttle shafts, butterflies. The idle mixture screw port has been machined. This is a dummy screw right here. It does not do anything, so don't touch it. This is the idle mixture screw, and you will, or whoever installed these carburetors, will be adjusting this to do final adjustment to your carburetors. But it won't take much. Just takes a smidge of a turn. A few things to go over in terms of jets. The G55 jets, if you ever lose your idle, but you can start the car and rev it up, that means that the idle jet is got a little plug of a little grid in it, and the G55 stands for 0.55 millimeter hole, and that's very small and easily clogged. So what you do is you take this jet out, you just unscrew it like that. Take it out, and you can see the little hole right here, little teeny hole, and you just put a little wire in there, a little something to unjam it, or if you want to, you simply take the corresponding jet from this side and swap them, because this one is still fully functional but just isn't used since the car idles on the first barrel only. Now then, let's go over a few things in terms of mounting. Again, I know that you won't be mounting these, but this video can be shared with whoever is. A set of 1/4-inch drive flex sockets. That makes a really handy tool for installing these carburetors, for getting up underneath. Be sure to use 2 wrenches to secure the fuel fitting, so that you hold this fitting stable, and then you do your wrenching on this fitting. You do not want to turn here without stabilizing down here, because it'll rip this fitting out of the body. Another thing you want to do is you want to install the carburetors loosely first, and then move the camera back. What you want to do is install the carburetors loosely where you can move them up and down. Then you want to install your airlock, snug the carburetors down to where they don't move, and then pull your airlock off and do the final tightening. And the reason for this is because there's enough movement in these carburetors up and down, left and right, that you can secure them to where they are ready, their final installation is done, and you end up not being able to put this airlock in place, and that's very frustrating. So dry assemble the airlock first, and then do final tightening on the carbs. I'm going to show you, let's see, linkage is very important. Make sure your linkage is in good condition, including the shaft across here. We are going to start the carburetors, and what I'm doing is demonstrating that these are cold, well, as cold as they can be. It's about a 95-degree ambient temperature right now. And so we're going to do a cold start and show you how everything works. Now, for instance, the choke, you notice when I activate the choke, I'm actually moving this rod right here. So when you actuate the choke, you're closing the butterfly right here, and you're also opening up the throttle. So the important thing for this activity to take place is this little teeny set screw right back here. That little screw right there. And the clearance between here, the set screw, and the lever underneath there is 15 thousandths. And I will set that beforehand for you. Let's see, what else we need to do. I think we're ready for a start here. What I'm going to do is make sure you got the fuel system is critical on these things. You've got to have clean fuel, good fuel filters. I suggest an extra inline fuel filter between the original fuel filter and the fuel pump. You get one of those from the local auto parts store. And if you have any questions, I can certainly assist you. Also, I'll send instructions for mounting the carburetors, but make sure they know that you're supposed to put a wave washer between the body of the carburetor and this gasket right here, the mounting gasket. Most people don't understand that and can't believe it, but it's true. A wave washer goes between the body of the carburetor and the gasket here, and that acts as a limit stop for the metal sleeves that are in here that give you the right amount of crush or tension on the rubber without allowing the rubber to deform and not work properly. So let's see, starting procedure. Ordinarily we just give it a couple shots of fuel, switch on, hit the choke. See, we can light this up. I might have the idle too low. No, maybe they're just cold. Yeah, even at 100 degrees, that'd be considered cold. And you see them slowly backing off on the choke as they warm up or get warmed up. I wonder if I've lost idle. Huh. I bet I have. Better get a piece of dirt in there. Lost idle. Well, see, this is a good lesson. I'm going to check my idle jets right now. This thing was idling perfectly a minute ago. Well, not a minute, but I'm going to let it cool off. Oh. And I like the taste of gasoline. Okay, let's get this camera point where you see something. Go here and screw this G55. Oh my gosh, look at that. Actual piece of, I don't know if you can see it or not. Actual piece of grit right there. Unbelievable. I thought I had clean fuel when I've got a fuel filter on my fuel. Look at that. Can you see that piece of grit right there? Actually, it looks like a bug almost. Amazing. Ah. See? Diagnostics in action. Alright. Boy, that was a great learning lesson right there. I love that. I'm glad that happened. Now, let's see if we can make this thing work. Switch on. See the difference? Amazing, isn't it? Just that little piece of grit, that little bug, that little fleck of something or other was enough to not allow the car to run, or the engine to run. So now we got to warm it up. What I can do before I can show you adjusting. take long to warm up in this temperature. Alright, first things first, we will disconnect the throttle linkage. So these aren't running independently of each other. And we can eliminate the throttle linkage as a problem if we eliminate the linkage in terms of adjustment. We want to adjust the carburetors independently of each other. And what we're going to do now is going to check our airflow. And we want the airflow from each carburetor to be uniform. You can see we have a smidge over 5. We want to make sure our second barrel is closed off. And you notice minimal airflow through the second barrel. Same thing with the first first carburetor. Minimal airflow, and we're on about 5 right there. Now this obviously is, I've already tuned these, but what you're going to do is you're going to, once you get them on your engine, and let's say we've got something that's out of adjustment. So I've just made this carburetor run or open the butterfly more than the other carburetor. So this is now at 7. So all I'm going to do is back that off until it gets down to a little bit around 5 and change. Alright, there's 5 and change. 5, almost 5. Now what we can do also is, since these are both threaded the same on the same thread pitch, what you can do is, if you want to adjust things, you don't have that synchrometer handy, you can do the same adjustment at each screw. So let's up the idle. It's a little low right now, so I'm going to do, let's say, a quarter turn there. Say a quarter turn here. Now let's check to see how well we did. There's 6. Almost 6 right there. So let's see how close that was. So we'll dial it into 6 again. There we go. Now we got 6 exactly. 6 right there. And we're going to do the idle mixture screw next. And this is something you get to do on your engine, and you can do it anytime you want. And what you're doing is you're going to screw the idle mixture screw in and out until you get the engine to run the best. And it doesn't take much, just a little bit either way. You may be able to hear the engine degradation, idle degradation, in just a minute. It's starting to break down, so we're going to screw it back in. Idle's starting to degrade, so we're going to go back, find our midpoint where the engine runs best. Sounds good there. Same thing over here. And in fact, I'll screw it in too much and you'll see what happens. Alright. See how rough it is? Back it out. Here it's smoothing out. Now it's getting rough again. See how nicely it smoothed out and picked up the RPM? There's our sweet spot right there, and you can do this anytime that you want once the car's idle, warmed up. Next, we are going to recheck our airflow, because I think we can, now that we've got those adjusted, we can back off on the idle. see what happens with about 5. Just over to the other side. Back off. I don't have to put my finger on the linkage over here because there's a return spring on the number 1 carburetor. So let's back this off to 5. There we go. Got a nice low idle. You may want to up the idle. That's up to you. We got that adjusted. Next, we're going to snap on our linkage, and our linkage is adjustable on a turnbuckle so that we can snap it in place and nothing changes. Four and a half, 5. 4.5, 5. Really nice set of carburetors. Now we'll do a hot start. Nice response. Another important thing we're going to check is make sure there's no dripping in the throat. The dripping would be coming from this area up here, where the needle, the discharge nozzle is, or the accelerator pump. Maybe you can. I'll see if I can show you this while we accelerate here. I don't know if I can do that. Hold the. See that or not. I had to hold the flashlight in my mouth. Anyway, important thing is you got a really nice set of carburetors here. Thank you, sir.